Hi everybody, this is Osprey from mychartcoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at the small caps. So these are some of the small caps that were in play today. So first up is ticker symbol ENPH. As you can see here, it closed up nearly 8%, so this is a nice move. You have RSI at 61, Fasto at 85, bullish crossover here on ADX, and then the move today above the middle Bollinger Band is signaling more upside potential, so look for a possible start of a new uptrend if that middle Bollinger Band at 438 holds, and then you're looking for a break above the high close horizontal resistance level from the 27th. A close above that level would signal more upside potential. So about 505 would be the next target. Okay, let's take a look at REXX. Nice follow through today. Closed up nearly 21%. RSI above 51. You've got Fasto up here at 77. Bullish crossover here starting on ADX. So yesterday there was a close above EMA's 4 and 8, the pink and lime lines. Today there was a nice close above the middle Bollinger Band. That's what we were looking for. Wanted to see a break above that orange line, EMA 13. The upper wick on today's candle hit the next target, which is the 50-day simple moving average at 90. It needs to break that level and to head higher, and it also needs to hold this middle Bollinger Band. If it drops below 76, that would be a red flag. A close above that 100-day simple moving average, and you're looking at a run up here to this $1.10 level, and possibly that 100-day simple moving average at 124. This high close here would be the target right here. Okay, let's look at AYTU. Closed up 15% today. Keep an eye on this one. It's been in a sideways channel. It did have a volume spike today, so you could see there's a nice volume spike. It closed back above the middle Bollinger Band. Right now it's in this sideways channel. You know, it's trying to stay above that middle Bollinger Band at 56. What you're looking for is a break above the closing price here on the 9th. That looks at about 62 or so there, and then if it can get above that level, then it's the upper Bollinger Band, and then this closing price on the 27th. You know, if it can break above that 70 level, then you're looking at that upper or that 50-day simple moving average at 77 is the next target. You know, it's been in the sideways channel. It had a volume spike. You know, if it gets above that 62, 63 level, it could get interesting. So keep an eye on that. Take a look at EBIO. Closed up nearly 9% today. Yeah, so you have RSI at 68, Fasto at 78, plus DI spiking here. So this has been in a nice uptrend. You could see the nice uptrend going. There was a pullback from high of day. If we put in let's see here, if we put in the accumulation, distribution, and shaken money flow, that upper wick on today's candlestick looks like it's probably a pullback on accumulation. Yeah, there's a little spike down, and so yeah, that it looks like there's some profit taking. You know, when you see that in an uptrend, and you've got this upper wick that you see it hit 180 and then it pulled back. You know, they were locking in some gains off of that 180 zone, and then what you want to see is you want to see this closing price on the 16th turn into support. You don't want to see it drop back below. You know, it needs to stay above EMA's 4 and 8. They've been holding, you know, as long as they're holding, the uptrend's really strong. If it came down and dropped below EMA 13 at 144, that would put the middle Bollinger Band at 300-day simple moving average on deck. The dotted purple line and the blue line there, 132 and 134. It needs to stay above those levels to keep this uptrend going. Right now, it keeps making higher highs, you know, and higher lows as it's pushing higher. It did have the big volume spike. You know, the only thing you have to be concerned with is just that upper wick. You know, just it has to just keep pushing higher. You know, if you look here at the 15-minute chart, you can see what I'm talking about. The upper wick pulled it down below the middle Bollinger Band here at 130 or 145. It closed below the middle Bollinger Band, and that does signal downside risk. It has to get back above 166. So if 166 is resistance tomorrow, you know, that would signal possible consolidation, and then it has to stay above the 50 simple moving average at 159. If it dropped below that, it could come down and test these other moving averages. If it broke above 166, then it could get an uptrend going again, and possibly push above that. You know, the next target would be up here at this 177 level, the high close. So yeah, so EBIO has you know, it made a nice move, but it pulled back. It's in a nice uptrend. You know, it just has to hold support here. It had big volume. You can see the big volume that came in, but they sold it off. And so yeah, we'll have to see if it can keep pushing higher. Let's look at MYO. Closed up 8%. And so yeah, it's got RSI at 53. So now it's back in that bull zone. You know, you've got the bullish crossover here on ADX when the green line crosses the red line to the upside. And so today it hit the 150-day simple moving averages here, the gold and green lines. And so it needs to break above that 379 level to head higher. If they remain resistance, it'll just signal more consolidation. It needs to hold this middle Bollinger Band down here at 327. You know, if that level holds and then it busts through the 50-day simple moving average, then it could get moving. You know, if it fails to break above, you know, then that signals it's not ready to go. So keep an eye on it. Above 379 would be bullish. If you look at BUR, it started off with really low volume. This is a thinly traded stock, obviously, 477,000 shares. It's only 55 cents a share. Not very much money flow here. It did close up 12%. Keep an eye on it. It's hitting the 200-day simple moving average at 57. It had been above that intraday. If it closes above that level, it might get moving. So yeah, you know, if you're a penny stock trader, keep an eye on this one. It might heat up. You could see here it hit that upper wick here would be the top of that candle, and so if it were to get a close above this closing price right here at 59, it could break out and maybe make a run up to that 72 level, that close up here in December. Okay, keep an eye on GALT, closed up nearly 9%. Yeah, as you can see, it's bouncing. This is a bounce play, so it had the multiple red candles in a row, and then today it bounced and formed a bullish reversal pattern with a close above EMA 4 at 364. So if that EMA 4 holds, the next target will be EMA 8 at 385. It needs to break that, and then the 100 day simple moving average and EMA 13. If it can get above that 4 resistance level, you know, then it has to get back up here. It has a lot of work to do. There's a lot of moving averages stacked up just above, but keep an eye on it. We'll see if it can get a bullish reversal confirmation. If it drops below 364, that'll signal more downside risk, and then it could come down here and test this 200-day simple moving average at 312. Okay, take a look at ORPN. Yeah, talk about no money flow. This one only traded 72,000 shares today. I don't even know why I have it in this video, but I figured it was worth keeping an eye on just in case the volume comes in, because it did close today above the middle Bollinger Band, the dotted purple line. If it can stay above 209, you know, it could run up here and test this 50, 100, and 200-day simple moving averages. You know, if it can bust through that 258, then you have the 300-day simple moving average at 286. You know, the last couple of times it's been able to run up to that level, so that would be the ultimate target if it was able to bust through resistance here. Now, one thing I thought made it interesting is look at the PSAR, parabolic SAR, that's these green dots up here. Notice how they were above the candles the entire time. Today there was a bull flip, so they flipped below the candles for the first time. SAR stands for stop and reverse, so it's just a signal that this downtrend could possibly be taking a breather, and it could try to get maybe a little uptrend going here. We'll see. It also closed above high close horizontal resistance, so that was another bullish signal. You know, it closed above the closing price here on the 11th. That was the top of this current range, and so that was just, you know, it just signals that it possibly could run up here. It still has no volume, but you know, it was able to close above key moving average and key resistance level on very little volume, so it seems like not much selling pressure, at least not today. And so let's look at EYPT. Closed up 15%. Yeah, this one is really cooking. You can see over here it's pushing hard. It has a strong uptrend. It's trading above all the moving averages. It was able to turn that blue line, the 300-day simple moving average at 142 into support. It's riding EMA 4 at 156 higher. It did push well above that upper Bollinger Band, so the candles could work back into the bands. If they do, you want to see that EMA 4 level hold. You could see this type of move here where it pushed above and then worked back in. Notice it is on a 3-day run with the spike today. If you look here at the weekly chart, the next key level to break is going to be this gold line, which is the 100-week moving average at 193. It's currently hitting this zone from over here in the end of 2016, and then half of the, you know, the first few months of 2017. You know, it's hitting this zone right here. You know, it was also a key zone here in June and July of 2017 as well. So as you can see, look at all these candles that were hitting this current level that it's at right now. So this might be a tough level to break, all right? But if it does get through and it could close above that 100-week moving average, that'd be a signal it wants to head higher. It might run back up to the 220, 230 level. You know, if it did pull back, you'd want to see the EMA4 at 147 hold. And so, yeah, it did break above that 50-week moving average last week, and it closed above the top of this channel. And so it was signals that it wanted to head higher. It just has to bust through that 193 level. Okay, take a look at Mankind here, ticker symbol MNKD, closed up 7%. It's heating up down here. As you can see, it dropped below the middle Bollinger Band at the beginning of March. You know, it's riding EMA's 4 and 8 resistance lower. Today, it did close above the pink and lime line for the first time since back here on this candle. You can see it hit the orange line here and failed to break, and it kept dropping. And that's where it's at again today. You know, it hit that orange EMA 13 level at 184, you know, that zone, and hasn't broken yet. It has to break above. If you see a break above that level tomorrow and a close above, that would be bullish. And then what you'd want to see is a run up here to $2. It's the bottom of this gap. There's a gap between low of day on this candle and high of day on this candle, and so this bottom of the gap and the middle Bollinger Band are both lined up in the same zone. So it looks like if it could bust through 184, it could run up to $2. Keep in mind, breaking through the bottom of the gap is always a tough level to break, and many times it is the take profit zone. Okay, take a look at JAGX. Okay, so it did not close up today. I have it in the video because it looks like it could be setting up for a bounce here soon. Okay, so keep an eye on this one. It's oversold on Fasto. You know, it's still not oversold on RSI, but as you can see here, it has multiple red candles in a row. It looks like it's been down 7 days in a row, and it's held this range here. And so what you want to see is a close above that, you know, basically above this. If you could see it trading above 18, then that would be a bullish signal. If it closed above 18, that would be EMA 13 here, the top of these moving averages. You have EMAs 4, 8, and 13, and the 300-day simple moving average all in the same zone between 17.2 and 18. If it can get above 18, then you have this dotted purple line, the middle Bollinger Band on deck. There hasn't been a close above the middle Bollinger Band since back here on the 27th of March. So if it could close above that level, that would be a signal that it's ready to head higher. Now if EMA 4 here at 17.2 remains resistance, that's going to signal downside risk, and then you could see this 100-day simple moving average tested, similar to how it was here on the 17th, and then a break below that level would signal major downside risk. Yeah, it looks like the 100-day simple moving average is the bottom moving average on this chart, so that is the you know, that's the key support level. You know, this is where it should have a technical bounce. If it dropped below, that would be major downside risk. You'd see it back down here in the 14s. That's where there was this previous channel down here. You could see before it had that spike on the 8th, there was a super tight channel. And, you know, it could just be working its way back to that level. You'll know if it's headed back down to the 14, 15 range by you know, two things. Whether if it doesn't break resistance, and if that 100-day simple moving average level fails to hold. Okay, yeah, and finally, take a look at LBCC. This is Long Blockchain Corporation, closed up 11%. So yeah, it's on the OTC now. There's a lot of crypto running right now, so it seems like everybody's getting hot on crypto again, and so yeah, you could keep an eye on this one. I guess I should have showed the other. There's like several over-the-counter stocks that are running, you know, that we posted charts on in the chat, so you're welcome to come check that out and see all the stocks that are running over the counter that in the cryptocurrency sector. And so for this play, which doesn't look as good as the other charts in the chat because they're really cooking, this one is hitting EMA 4 here at 63. But if it can close above that level, that's going to be a signal that it's heating up. All right, so keep an eye on that. If it gets above 63, it could possibly run up here to EMA 8 at 88, and you have this gap up here at 140. between 140 and this 170 level, and so you could see a run up to that level if it gets moving above EMA4. So keep an eye on it. It did have some volume last week, so it looks like there were some bounce players that were trying to load down here, or possibly it looks like they're dumping some shares, obviously. And so yeah, keep an eye on it. There's some good runners that are setting up and starting to move. There were several that were running over the counter for the Bitcoin blockchain stocks, crypto stocks, whatever you want to call them, and then there's a couple that just started, so they just closed above resistance today, so we're going to see if they'll fall through tomorrow. Okay, thanks for doing this video. Yeah, if you want to check out the chat, I'll post the link below the video. Thanks.